As part of my pledge to complete Heaven's Ward before June 30th, which is a few weeks away, I have to get through patch 2.1, 2.2, and all those other patches, and my biggest challenge is staying awake. This is the most boring RPG I've ever played. Welcome back, Classic Crew, to the 6th journal in my Final Fantasy. I tried to make a 6 there, whatever. In my Final Fantasy 14 journey to make it to the end of Heaven's Ward. Now that I have dabbled in the game, gotten a taste for it, I have pledged to make it to the end of Heaven's Ward. And the first thing I have to say is this is a rough part of the game. I was really ready when I got into A Realm Reborn. People told me it was very slow, it was setting a foundation. And for the most part, it was okay. There was some like drawn out parts, but we ended on a high last time. We defeated the Empire, we had some cool dungeons, some cool boss fights, everything was going well, credits rolled, and we even got a Bahamut roar, which I'm like, okay, we're going into finally gonna fight Bahamut and stuff. I've been away for the last 2 weeks, just sleeping. This has been so boring from a story perspective. Despite me being gone for 2 weeks, all I have done so far is the Scions, the SSDs, whatever, they decided to move from the desert place to a cold mountainous place, which looks like a castle, so it's an improvement. A dragon lady that we're not supposed to know is a dragon lady, which I'm also not supposed to call a dragon lady, but I forget the race name, has shown up looking all ninja-like, but she has a dragon tail, so, you know, it's kind of gives it away what race she is. Oh, and I guess I fought a Leviathan. That's a pretty big deal. And a Moogle King, both of which have freaking amazing songs. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Outside of those highlights, the story has been super dry, simply because it's so drawn out of go here, and I know that's what an MMO is, but I've been doing it for 40 hours in A Realm Reborn, and it wasn't this bad where we're going here and going there, but the plot is just not moving. It's like, oh, can we just get on with it? So luckily, I have a lot of side activities to kind of like keep me going and finding things interesting. The first thing I decided to do as I hit level 50, since we finished 2.0, is get me out of these yoga pants. I cannot play Bard anymore. Honestly, this was probably the biggest mistake I've done for this game, was choosing the path of the Bard, like being Archer than a Bard. I really thought I would have enjoyed it, but everything from the class story to the gameplay, I now understand is all bad for me. Might be good for you, but it's bad for me. So the first thing I did is, let's change this up. Let's go Marauder. Give me my axe. Let me attack things face to face. And oh, so much adrenaline. It just felt good to whack things. And I also learned that other classes outside of Bard have combos, which that actually adds a whole other level of dopamine to my like clickety clackety. So now I actually get to have to like be a little bit more smart with what I'm tapping, and I get to combo things, which is super satisfying to do. Another thing is I have never tanked in an MMO before, so I got to experience what it was like to tank, and for the most part it was pretty okay until the chat took me to Aurum Vale and decided to spank me for no reason. We're going to talk about that soon. But just the experience of tanking, I've always been intimidated by it because I know a tank is what leads the pace of a party, and it's a lot of responsibility. Like, you're supposed to aggro everything, you're supposed to keep your party safe, you are the center of attention, which I'm okay with most of the time, but that's a lot of responsibility in a dungeon. That said, it was pretty fun to smack things around, so I figured let's go, and the free company I'm with have been helping me in dungeons, so I haven't been playing with randoms, and they've been very kind. But I've also heard that the Final Fantasy 14 community is very kind towards new players, and so even if I didn't have a company, apparently I would have been greeted and taken care of nicely, unlike what my chat did in Aurum Vale. Anyways, the initial tanking experience was quite lovely. I really enjoyed it, and it was just kind of nice that I get to go around and I throw my axe at things, and I'm like, oh, come here, and I like do my AoEs, and I'm just like getting all that aggro. It felt good. And then eventually some people were telling me about wall to wall, which was a term I didn't know about, and they were telling me that, oh yeah, like the pros, once you get like comfortable enough, it's wall to wall, you just go and the healer is keeping you alive. So I asked if I could have that experience, and I think we did it in the Copper Bell Mines, I think it's what it's called, and the healer was like, go for it, just go wall to wall, go nuts. And that was a whole other rush of dopamine. That was so fun to just like run until you can't run anymore, and then it's just like stomp, 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 and kill everything. It was super fun until we got to Aurum Vale. So I was doing dungeons and fates to level up my Marauder to my Warrior, and for some reason, yeah, everybody got really excited about Aurum Vale. I didn't know the reputation of Aurum Vale Vale before playing the dungeon. Set some context here. I was a little tired that night. My brain was just not there. And so far, I had no issues playing this game in any capacity. And the chat was all being like sneaky, and everybody was trying to like fight over each other as to who could do Aurum Vale with me. And so I go into Aurum Vale, and suddenly I knew something was up, because the whole free company here was definitely not playing the way they usually do. They just scattered and started aggroing everything, and we were dying and everybody was laughing. I'm like, why are we all laughing? Usually we're not laughing when we're dying. And I was not laughing because it was not a good experience. I was basically dying. Everybody was laughing. I didn't know why. It was chaos everywhere. There were scorpions, there were Malboros, there was poison swamp, and long story short, it caused some tension. And I came to understand afterwards that there's a tradition in the community of Final Fantasy XIV that you take a sprout through Aurum Vale, and it's like a trial of passage. Can they make it through this? And honestly, as a sprout, I have to say, stupid tradition. I had been a tank for no more than mere, 5-6 hours. I barely knew what I was doing. So the joke or whatever failed on me because I was already not an aggressive tank. I was playing very cautious, and I'm still trying to learn my rotations and stuff. And so to be thrown into a dungeon and just like aggro, push all your buttons, why aren't you doing it right, was just not an enjoyable experience. I was overwhelmed. It was chaos. I was dying. And so what I ended up doing was just planting my foot down and being like, we are not moving anymore. We're aggroing this room. We kill this room. We move on. I don't know how much of the chat was listening, but anyways, we made it forward, and there was a conflict between myself and my chat where I was like, that was not fun. Why'd you guys do that? But then they sent me a bunch of videos explaining the thing. So if you are one of those Aurum Vale marauders, call yourself out in chat, because shame on you guys. That is not a fun experience. Even the story of Warrior is way more interesting than Bard. You've got, it's a warrior story. It's all about fighting big monsters, protecting the kids, being a big hero. And then you even have one of the best side characters called Curious Gorge. That's it, Curious Gorge, who is like teaching you how to become a better warrior. And to some level you can respect him because he does know moves you don't, and he's teaching them to you. And then you clash with him because the guy goes crazy with his like bloodlust. Then you get all this magical armor. So much better than the depressive bard who doesn't want to shoot an arrow because he's sad, so he picks up the harp. After that sour note, I was a level 50 warrior. It was a good time, but I had also heard that I could be a samurai, which is something I enjoy being in my games, and I decided to go and try. Since I don't have to grind it, let's go see what samurai is about, so that way I'll have a tank class at level 50 and I'll have a fun DPS class at level 50. You know, there's a like legend just sitting around the gladiator ring who has a katana, and everyone's like, who's this guy? He's like beating up everybody, and he basically takes you under his wing, and he's like, oh, you're gonna be a fine samurai. I'm gonna teach you everything I know. I'm like, I can get down with this. I respect this master who is beating up everybody, knows what he's all about, and just knows he wants to be a teacher. Like, everything checks the list for being awesome mentor, awesome class. And on top of that, playing the samurai class is also fun. You want combos? Here's 3 combos with a super finishing attack, plus you get your AoE combos. It's just everything the warrior was giving me, but like a 3-scoop sundae. Like, so there's these 3, I mean, you guys know how to play Final Fantasy XIV, but for those who watch this for some reason who don't, you've got these 3 like little stickers, I guess people call, and you do 1 combo, you get 1 sticker. You do the other combo, you get 2 stickers. You get a 3rd combo, and they're all different combos, you get the 3rd sticker. Once you have all your stickers combined, you summon Captain Planet. I mean, you summon your ultimate move, which just looks so cool, feels so cool. It's just awesome. And if you don't have 3 stickers, you can do a cool finisher at 2 stickers or 1 sticker. They all do different things. And then there's your AoE combos. You have AoE combo 1, AoE combo 2, and you have an AoE finisher. It is so far the best class. Everything has just been better. I'm glad I started at the bottom with Bard, because everything has just been fantastic. So that's another thing. And then because the story was so boring, I also did the Final Fantasy 16 event, which is going on right now. Now, I don't think I can appreciate this event as much because I didn't play Final Fantasy 16 because they didn't bring it to Steam yet. Put it on PC, remove it from exclusivity, please. But I got to, what I really liked about this whole like side story was there was a fight with Ifrit who looked way cooler. I think this is Final Fantasy 16 design, which is way better than the Final Fantasy 14 one. And just the mechanics of this one, it added a mechanic which I think is further along in FF14. It just made the fight so cool with counters. Like as soon as I like saw the animation, after I learned I didn't have to do it on command, but I could do it just based on the animation cue. It became a really satisfying fight at the end of just like countering Ifrit and smacking him and punching him. And I got rewarded with a no, that's not true. I got rewarded with a dog that I can fly with now. But later, I did Ifrit hard mode, which is now unlocked, and that one got me a really cool sword. That's what I was going to mention. So I got like this flaming sword, which is glowing red, super awesome. And I didn't get it on the first drop because someone in the free company decided to greet or need it, and they're like, I wanted the sword. And I'll call him out. He's on every comment. His name is Adventure, if you see him down there. The rest of the chat got pretty angry at ads, and they're like, why are you taking Jay's sword? And then they got back in there unsynced or something. They basically pounded Ifrit in like 2 seconds, and they gave me my sword so that I was happy. I felt like being at a baseball game where there's like that other kid that steals the baseball for the one kid that was clearly supposed to catch it. And then like, you know, the dad gets involved and goes and gets the baseball because to make the kid stop crying. So that's what happened to me. And I got a nice sword out of it. It was nice. Garuda hard mode also done. I still have to go get my Titan hard mode quest, and I hear that after I finish that, I unlock a special raid or something, and that's where the Bahamut fight is, which is weird that it's not integrated into the story, but whatever. Lost opportunity, FF14 devs. So going back to the story, or what's of it, yeah, so now that we have that the Scions of the Seventh Dawn have become this renowned force of power and everything, they've decided that they can't be in any one territory, and that they want to be neutral and not have influence or have perceived influence from any of the big kingdoms. And so we all moved to Mordana, which is honestly better town. There's an ether crystal there, so I can actually teleport without opening up a letter. And we started investigating this other thing in the woods. For some reason, the Mughals summoned the good King Mughal Malik the 12th, which has the first song with lyrics outside of answers in any kind of battle that I've had. So that was pretty cool. It was a very like quirky fight, and I just really enjoyed. It was like a twisted comedic but horror kind of sounding song. Very interesting. I was fascinated with that one. It's unfortunate though the lyrics weren't clear, but I did listen to the song after with lyrics just on my own on YouTube, and it's a very catchy song. So after this, the plot, we got introduced to another more robed figures. So now we've got Elidibus. I think he's the one in white. There's another guy. These look like typical Square Enix villains, especially Kingdom Hearts villains. Yeah, so anyways, the moving, it took like 2 hours. Go talk to this person. Go find Minfilia's mom. Do you know about Minfilia's dad? Why can we not just pack our bags and move? And then an interesting character shows up, Yugiri, from another land, from afar, and she's got like the dragon tail. I think this would have been better when if it was experienced at the time that the patch came out, because I was like, what's this? Why is she all covered and everything? And then people told me, oh, at the time that they introduced her in the story, there were no whatever the dragon folk are called. So seeing someone that was like, you know, all disguised with a dragon tail was like a tease for the next race being introduced, which I would have been like, cool. And then later on, you see her like fight in a way that no other characters fight. And I'm like, wait, is that ninja moves? And everyone's like, yeah, that was a tease for the ninja job that was going to be introduced at the time. So I can appreciate it, but like the fact that all of that exists now, it's kind of just taken away from a story like power perspective. But Yugiri is like bringing a bit of freshness to the story, and it's interesting. You know, now I know that the Empire is up to no good on another continent somewhere. She's here with refugees. She's joining me. I really am dying to see what she looks like. And it's starting to pick up again. But again, oh my God, the whole refugee storyline. Go talk to this person. We got to convince that they want refugees. Oh, now we got to bring the refugees to this place. You can't bring them all at once. Bring them partially. And you got to like talk to everybody. It's like, oh my goodness. To be fair, it's very realistic, but it's just like, let's get to the good stuff, because I can feel that there's so much good stuff out there, but it's just world building so slowly, and I guess like that's what you need sometimes, but man, it's hard to keep awake. And then we ended on a high note thanks to Leviathan. So yeah, these other creatures summoned Leviathan, they prayed to him, and I got introduced to one of the best Leviathan soundtracks ever, where it's like a heavy metal song that's actually going like Leviathan. It sounds like something out of old school Power Rangers. It's really cool. The fight was fun, and that's where we ended. So I think I have another quest or two, and I will be done 2.2. In my pledge, there's roughly like 8 or 10 weeks, I don't know, I didn't count it, to get to the end of Heaven's Ward. So it's a pretty daunting task, but we're going to be going into 2.3 and hopefully 2.4 in the next week. I'm told the good stuff's coming, so I'm just buckling down and getting ready for this. Now at least I got a samurai class to have fun with. And hey, there's all these like little side adventures I can have with my chat too. Except Aurum Vale, we're not doing that again. I'll see you guys next time, and until then, keep it classy.